Now, I know what you're thinking. There's a DPF light flashing, but we are not looking at that. And I also know what you're thinking. Wait, what? A Mazda 6 with a DPF light flashing, 2.2 diesel? That cannot be right. The matrix has gone wrong. But what we are interested in today, or all I've been told to do today, is the airbag light flashing. Hello and welcome to our Bodgit and Leggit video. Right, we have a 2010 Mazda 6 and we have an airbag light flashing. Now, the story I know with this car is it's been written off and it's been fixed. And the insurance guy has come down, or the assessor says they're happy enough with the car has been fixed, but they're not happy with the airbag light flashing. Now, they haven't, well, I haven't been told anything about the DPF light flashing, whether they're happy with it or not happy with it, but I've just been told to leave the DPF. So I'm going to leave the DPF. But the airbag light flashing, now the problem is, I believe there was no airbags out on the car. It wasn't a bad enough crash for that to happen, but it was written off supposedly, and yet it's been fixed. So look, I don't know, but all I do know is we've got a flashing airbag light, and the problem is when a car has been crashed, let's turn off the light so you can know reflection. But the problem with the car has been crashed is you don't know what's been happened to it. This is not, you know, this could be a fault because of the crash. It could be a fault because of cut wires. It could just be, it's a minefield when you have a crashed car, rather than having, say, like a virgin fault that it's just come up and there's nothing happened with the car. So first thing we're going to do is plug it in and we're going to see what codes we've got, and we're going to go from there. Right, first thing I've noticed, which is good, the battery. So airbag systems, anything like that, like a proper battery. This is why it's important to have a scan tool that shows you the battery voltage, or to always have the battery voltage PID up, which is what I always say, because it is important. So what we got? We got a right hand driver, we got a left hooker. Not equipped. So yeah, because obviously, you know, it needs a certain voltage to work properly, and if it goes below that voltage, it won't work. If a battery has gone dead and you've jump started, sometimes the airbag light can stay on because it's realized there's a low voltage in the system. So let me get the airbag system up and we'll see what fault codes we got. Right, not too bad. Only one in the PCM, one in, oh, what happened there? Oh, the fan just kicked in. Why did the fan kick in? It's not that hot. Anyway, we've got one in the RCM, which is what we're going to be looking at. One in the audio. The one in the engine is going to be DPF. I've been told not to look at that, so we will just ignore that. But let's see what we got here. What PIDs we can look at. And then we can go from there. This could be a nightmare, or it could be really easy. I really don't know yet. Oh, look at it going now. It's going 90. It's because it's communicating with the system. Or it's trying to. Oh, here we go. Oh. Okay. Passenger side deploy. So we've got an issue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a few data PIDs and we're going to see. Hopefully it's just a high resistance in the line, but we'll see. Right, the reason why I'm using the Botle is because you can see, look, this is all on one page. If this was the launch, you'd have to flick between two pages, and it's just annoying. It's just nice to have it all on one page. You can see we've only got an issue with the passenger side airbag, I believe it said, but we've got a driver's side airbag and a passenger side airbag with resistance off the scale. So that's an open circuit. I'm guessing, unless we've got high resistance. The driver's side seat belt, I've just got it buckled, unbuckled, buckled, unbuckled, buckled. That's working. The passenger's seat belt was in. That's now unbuckled, but it's me unbuckling it, but it's still saying buckled. So we've got an issue with that. It thinks it's buckled when it's not. Curtain airbag's okay. So this is important, lot voltage. So that's important that the voltage is good, because that will throw off the whole systems. So nothing has been detected, no airbags have been detected going off. Oh, we've got a side impact. I need to find out a bit more information just to make sure no airbags went off, and then we'll continue. Right, all I know is now that it has been like this since the people have got the car about 1.5 years, 2 years ago apparently. So no airbags have gone off since they've had it, and it's been like this for a while, so that really doesn't help me. The only thing I can do is try and disconnect modules, or not modules, but I'm classing an airbag as like a module, even though, you know, it's an airbag, and test the resistance of each airbag. And yes, I'm going to do it with the multimeter. That people think it's so dangerous you can't do it, but I've proven on so many videos you can test an airbag with a bloody multimeter. I don't understand why people say it's going to blow up. I've physically shown it on videos. I put my face right next to the airbag and still tested it, and guess what, the airbag didn't go off. Isn't it amazing how people say you can't do it, but I've proven you can, and loads of other people have proven you can. So let me start stripping a few things, and then we'll see what we are at. Right, I've just seen a few interesting things. I've just moved a load of bottles. You can see, look, there's loads of more bottles underneath here. When you have things underneath your seat like this, it can, I've seen it rip out wires, I've seen all sorts of stuff happen. You can see the airbag connection here at the back for the seat belt. So what I'm going to do with that one is I'm just going to unbuckle it and buckle it back. So just disconnect it and connect it back again. See if that changed anything, and clear out all this crap from underneath the seat, because you can even see that this connector over here should be pushed up against the seat. See where them little holes are, where the other connector is? The tan colour connector, and the white one's just dangling around. Same as the airbag one is just dangling around because of all these bottles under here. Right, I think I was getting a bit ahead of myself. I wanted to check the passenger's airbag, so I took down the glove box, and you can just see the connection just under there. I've just loosened it a little bit. And look, we've got passenger's airbag resistance really high now, which is this one. If I click it back together, it goes to normal. So I didn't actually look at them properly, but it says airbag 2. So I'm wondering, well, what do they class as airbag 2? Because this is the driver's side airbag, which is on the steering wheel. This is the passenger side airbag. They're okay. So airbag 2 resistance, I wonder if that means the buckle, because as you can see, this seat now is unbuckled, but it's still saying it's buckled. So a bit more checking to do. Right, when you disconnect anything from an airbag system, 2 pins drop out and create a short in the circuit. It stops you putting power into this and blowing up an airbag or whatever. So it's a safety device on the airbag system, and if I put power into that, it will set off the seatbelt and airbags and all sorts. So these 2 little pins come out. You can't see them. Let me just take one of these out. You see that little pin there? You can see the pin sticking out there at the top. Now look at the bottom. You'll see that pin looks like it's bent over. That pin is essentially, you know, creating a short circuit essentially. So these 2 little cable ties are in there so I can actually test. You have to push the 2 pins out the way, and the easiest way to do it is 2 little cable ties, because they're, you know, they're plastic. They don't carry any current, or they don't make any circuits. So yeah, do that and then test it. Right, 2.4, 2.6. That's absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with that. But one thing I have just noticed, which I didn't notice before, is, I think I know what the airbag 2 is now. These seats have airbags in. Now I didn't see that until I've just lifted the seat forward, and I've just seen on here it says airbag. So I'm going to now test the seats, the airbag in the seats, and I reckon we've got high resistance. I reckon that's what that is. So it's maybe the seat airbags. I got to figure out, the wire is here, but I got to figure out where the plug is. And again, these are all just hanging out. All these bottles are underneath here. All these bottles are underneath here. It's just, it's no good. That's what causes problems. It really isn't good, and it can cause you a lot of problems for just not cleaning your car out essentially. Just ignore everything I just said. I really just don't know what's going on with my head at the minute. I was testing the airbag of the seats, not the buckle. So what I've done is this one was bad as well. So what I've done is I disconnected it, I cleaned up the connections and I put it back, and it's absolutely perfect now. So the airbag of the seats are okay, which you can now see. In my head, I just thought I had the seatbelt buckles I was testing, because I didn't think that there was airbags in the seats, and as soon as I realized there's airbags in the seats, it was the airbag in the seats I was testing. So I've still got to test the buckle, but that's not really our problem. I'm going to see now that I've done the side the side impact airbag, I'm going to see what the error codes are now, see if any have reset, and then we're going to go for the for these two fellas up there. See, that's what you get for not looking properly. Now all these problems are because I've been disconnecting everything, but because I wasn't looking properly, I just assumed that the igniter was in the seat buckle and not an airbag in the seat. Now again, the test that I did was still exactly the same. There was no issue with it. You can see from the passenger's airbag, when I actually tested it, even though I thought I was testing the buckle, but it doesn't matter, we still had 2.6 ohms. So the tests are still valid. It's just I thought I was testing the seatbelt igniter rather than an airbag. But like I said, look, it's the same thing. So now, because I've been, you know, disconnecting and connecting everything, we're gonna clear the fault codes. We're going to see which ones come back, and then we're going to go from there. And I'm guessing a lot of that problem is just because of all them bottles and crap that's under there. I've seen it do a lot more damage than that. I've seen it rip out wires. I've seen all sorts of problems. Yeah, now we've only got one issue. Awesome. So we've fixed one issue. We've now only got one issue, and it is the seatbelt. Now we actually do we have a different code? I'll have to check the old codes because I took a picture of them. Yes, we do. I thought so. We have a completely different error code, which is cool, which is good, because we know we're on the right track. So I'm going to just exit out of this for a second, and I want to see what the airbag light is doing on the car itself. So I'm just going to cycle the ignition and see if it's still doing what it did before. Right, so let's just start her up. Again, we're going to ignore the DPF light. Don't count our chickens yet. Boom! There we go, we sorted it. So, even though I knew, well, I was thinking I was testing the seatbelt buckle, igniter, not the airbag. There's an igniter on certain seat buckles, which is still the same two connections. It's still the yellow connection. It's still got all that sort of stuff. So, and again, the test is still exactly the same. It's just I happen to be testing the airbag because I just didn't look at the seats properly. But anyway, the results are still the same. We are going to now need a new seatbelt buckle. But again, the customer doesn't want me to spend too much time on this, doesn't want me to check out the DPF. I can smell the DPF, it stinks. Anyway, that's all they wanted to do, is turn off that airbag system for the airbags. Now, the only good thing I would say, if it is a good thing, is you see the seatbelt buckle, the car thinks it's buckled. So that's a good thing. So that means the passenger's airbag will go off, where if it's unbuckled, it won't necessarily. So it's broken in the best way, if that makes sense. I would sooner have it broken buckled than it saying unbuckled, because you put your seatbelt on, it thinks there's no one in the seat, so it's not going to deploy this side of the airbag system. So at least it's kind of broken in the same way. So yeah, we confused ourselves a little bit, but we got there in the end, which is all that matters, and we are good to go. and we're going to have to tell the customer, well, I'm doing this for another garage, but the garage is going to have to tell the customer not to put all them bottles of crap underneath the seat, because that's what's causing the problem. So as always, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below, but most importantly, don't forget to get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted. The reason what was confusing me is because it was saying airbag 2, I didn't know if it meant the side airbag. But technically airbag 2 in the Mazda, because you know every car has slightly different words, but airbag 2 in the Mazda happens to be the seat airbag. Sometimes they will say physically seat airbag, some, you know, left and right, or drivers and passengers. Sometimes it will say, you know, side airbag, left or right, you know, front and back, blah blah blah. This just said airbag 2, which when you think about it does make sense that it's the driver's seat, but it also makes sense that it's the side airbag as well. So it just depends on how they actually word it.